Hey everyone, and welcome to Poke Playtime. And do not rub your eyes or adjust your screen. This is actually a PTCGO video, and I know what you're thinking. Jesus, it's like it's been a year since you've done one of these, and you would be correct. It has been a year. And the reason for that, as you guys know, was I had no working laptop because the one I had was pretty old and I was broke being a student, but now that's all changed and I've got myself a lovely new laptop. Finally managed to get all the recording software working and the editing software. It's taken me a couple weeks just because life and everything. So let's get to the important things. The deck that I'm running right here that you're looking at is my Yveltal deck that I ran at regionals a little over a week ago. The deck was extremely consistent and I thoroughly enjoyed playing it. I'll run through the list and explain it for you, and I'll explain how the deck is meant to work. But this won't be the format for videos in the future. This was just I wanted to show this and get it out there and get your guys' opinion on the deck and what you thought of my choices and reasonings for it. So you have a line of 3 Yveltal EXs, standard, 1 Yveltal from XY. The reasoning for that was I was pretty wary of Night March going into that deck. Going into regionals, and it was the one matchup that I was really fearing, just because it's one of those decks that can either rinse through you or you rinse through it. Standard 1 Darkrai EX, 2 Seismitoads EXs, 3 Zubats from Phantom Forces, 3 Golbats from Phantom Forces, and 2 Crobats from Phantom Forces. The reasoning for 3-3-2. This deck, your bench is normally going to be packed because you want to get Darkrai down, you want to get 1 Toad down, you want to get at least 1 Yveltal set and another one down, so it only gives you 1 bench space. More often than not, you were coming in, if you had 3 Crobats in the deck, you were coming into them too early or too often, and you weren't maybe coming into the Golbat or the Zubat when you really truly needed it. So that was the reason for the drop. You're only ever going to get 1 Crobat down realistically if you're lucky. Or if you're having a bad game, you're going to panic, try and get the second one down to just give up 1 prize. And with it being 130 HP, it's a pretty hard one-hit knockout, even for an EX. So, it's good. The choice of A-Spec was Dowsing Machine for this deck. It'll kind of be explained a bit more when you hear my trainer selection. I just felt it was better to be able to recycle resources than search for resources, because I felt the support draw strength was very strong for this deck. So I had for my stadiums 1 Dimension Valley. 2 reasons: free attack with Crobat, and if I'm ever in a mirror matchup or in a matchup where they're trying to use poison, I wanted a way to get out my own Verbanks and their Verbanks. And it was something that I teched in and worked out quite well. And having a 3rd stadium in the deck is always handy, especially when you're coming against fighting decks as well, which I came across 2 of on the day. So you then have your standard 2 Verbank, 3 Hypnotoxic Lasers, 2 Switches, 2 VS Seekers, 3 Ultra Balls, 3 Crushing Hammers, 2 Enhanced Hammers, 1 Startling Megaphone, 2 Head Ringers, 1 Prof Letter. Then for the support, I have 4 Professor Sycamore, 2 N, 2 Colress, 1 Skyla, 1 Lysander's Trump card, and 2 Lysanders. And for the energy line, it was 6 Dark Energy, 4 double colorless. You might notice that I have no muscle bands in the deck because of the bats. And you may be like, oh, what about Head Ringer? And I was like, if you're attacking with Yveltal EX, you're usually going Dark Energy DCE, so Head Ringer's never a big deal. It's a pain, it's a nightmare with Seismitoad EX. You may as well just forget about even attaching to a Seismitoad if it's been head-ringered, in my opinion, especially in a deck like this when it runs so little energy. Just my opinion. If you disagree, let me know below. So that's really the build for the deck. I felt it was consistent, it moved, I was pulling into everything that I needed. In terms of on the day, I came 11th. I was disappointed. I would have made top cut, only I misplayed. So the one thing I've learned from this year's regionals that I competed in was always watch what's on your opponent's Pokemon, including their items. I didn't realize that it was a focus sash attached to the opponent's Donphan, and I was down to one prize, brought up in a Yveltal fully powered, attacked, and thought, oh, this is great, went to go pick up my prize, and he's like, focus sash, sorry man, and my heart sank because it went to his turn, he retreated out, one hit knockout, whatever way he did it, I think there was damage on the Yveltal, lost the game, and then time was called, so it was a very long-winded game, both of us taking, he had 4 prizes at that time, and I had taken 5, and the game had gone on for 40 odd minutes, so best of 3 of 50 minutes, there was just no way I could claw it back. I tried, but it is what it is. You learn from mistakes like that. So I'm going to a small tournament this coming Sunday, and I'm going to take that learning from that tournament and never ever ever let it happen again. So by me learning, I'm teaching you guys. So it's all swings and roundabouts. At the tournament, I will not be running this deck. I will be running a different deck. I am finished with Yveltal for now. I've ran it for over a year, and it has served me well. I ran it at Nats and Regionals last year, and I've played it for as much as I've played this season. This season has been a bad season for me in terms of playing, but now that everything's settled down in my new job and that, I should be able to take next season much more seriously, and my aim for next year is to make Worlds. I've no idea how I'm going to do it. It's going to be a lot of travel, but we'll figure it out. Maybe with all that housekeeping out of the way, I just want to get your guys' opinions and feels on what you'd like to see now that this kind of editing is, or that I have all this editing software and I'm able to get these kind of videos out. Would you like to see like what we used to do, like deck tech videos, where I might just do like a 2 or 3 minute video on a specific card and I can just pull it up, record it through the PTCGO and be like, this is what I think of the card, this is why it's important? Or would you prefer like to see decks, or would you like to see like once a week gameplays? I don't know what way I'm going to schedule this stuff at the moment. I'm just trying to still get used to it, and I'm upgrading my internet, so from next week I should have really good internet, which will mean more consistent uploads, because at the moment to upload a video like this, it's taking me about 10 hours. That's after recording, editing and rendering. It's a long process. It takes you nearly a full day to get one video out at the moment, which just isn't efficient, and I want to make it better so that you guys can get better content from us and to make it as informative as possible. And that's pretty much all the housekeeping I want to get out of the way for this video. So there's 5 minutes left of this gameplay, so I should probably explain what's going on in the game. And yeah, so we have the Mewtwo EX there with the head ringer. Mewtwo then becomes a lot harder to power up, and especially against Yveltal, you definitely want to slow down a Mewtwo. You just don't want to be taking a huge 120 damage or something like that. And then you actually see my opponent misplays there. He probably forgot about the Darkrai. It would have been way smarter to pull up the Darkrai there on my bench than the Yveltal, because I can just use the Darkrai to free treat out. And I'm still getting the hit. You see I have a pretty good hand there. I could play the Dowsing Machine and the end, but I looked at my opponent's hand from the previous turn, and it didn't seem like he had much to play off. So I just think it's better to just leave my hand as it is. It shouldn't really affect what happens in the game, and just go for the knockout, take my 2 prizes, because he doesn't really have a whole lot going on the bench. And I'm not really worried about his 2 Siggy glyphs, because I have the Crobat, and it shouldn't take me too long to fall into Crobat or a way of getting around them, especially with lasers and stuff in the deck. I don't really worry too much about safeguard Pokemon, because eventually you will knock them down. I also tend to even just laser them and pull up a Seismitoad and just keep item locking them, because if they're trying to stall me, I may as well try and stall them, hit them at their own game, and usually get a couple hammers going, force them to discard their energy. So I have a couple plays here at the moment. I can play the Chorus, I can play the N. My deck at this stage is going to be pretty low, so I'm seeing, okay, they have quite a bit of energy and they have stuff attached. I'm going through my bin because I'm like, I may as well play the dowsing machine at this stage. So I'm kind of going, okay, how many Crobats are in the bin? How many Ultra Balls are in the bin? And then I'm kind of like, hang on, there's also a few lasers there, and I only run 3 in the deck. I probably would be better off playing hunting for 1 and keeping 1 in the deck, and I'm not too sure if there's 1 in the prizes either. So the smart play, in my opinion, here is dump the Enhanced and the Verbank, because let's face it, they're not going to be used when all they've got is basic energy on the field, and go for the laser. That was also another reason for going 3-2, Crushing Hammer, Enhanced Hammer. I felt that decks aren't as reliant on special energy as they used to be. So you were coming in, and Enhanced Hammer ended up being junk in my hand more often than not. So probably in hindsight, maybe just ran the 1 Enhanced and 4 Crushing. But with the amount of tails I usually flip or roll, depending on how you want to play it, I just couldn't take the risk. I needed some sort of consistency. So as you see, I go for the laser. Wasn't really banking on the sleep, but it's always good to get it. So I play down my energy onto the Crobat because I'm not going to risk missing a knockout here. And I Chorus. And I don't really come into much. You see, this is where, like, the way I was talking about the stacked bench, realistically, I could have dropped the line to a 2-2-1, freed up a little space in my deck for maybe a Muscle Band, or a Max Potion would have been great in this deck, in hindsight. But you live, you learn, and I just went with it because it seemed like the best thing to do. Yeah, my opponent clearly has nothing, and he's just dropping energy because that's all he can do. But it doesn't really matter. This game's mine. He's got no more basics, and I get the KO between turns. And I think now you'll see I pull into the Crobat, so I actually win by not even attacking, which is pretty awesome. And I'll just bite for the win. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys want to see more, let me know in the comments below. If you guys found this video good or have anything that you can suggest to change it up, let me know below. Any feedback, criticisms, or suggestions, I'm fully open to it. I want to try and make this as useful for you as it is for me. Thanks for watching, guys. Later.